5,
All right.
4, 3,
3, 2, 1.
0.
Good afternoon, and welcome to our live coverage of Doge Space's DogeSat-15 mission. Our Shiba rocket is currently awaiting liftoff from Launch Complex 1 at the Veluwe in the Netherlands, with liftoff scheduled for 7:15 p.m. Central European Time. Hello, everyone. My name is Aiden, the founder of DAPA and Doge Space Roblox, and thank you so much for joining us for the 4th Shiba flight of the Shiba program. To start off today's broadcast, let's learn about today's payload, DogeSat-15. It is DogeSat's next flight for the DogeSat constellation. These satellites will perform crucial tasks, taking high-resolution pictures from outer space and sending accurate GPS data. At the moment, DogeSat is running with 14 satellites up in space. This will enable us to study a variety of things that were previously unable to be observed. So while the countdown continues, let's take a closer look now at the launch vehicle supporting today's mission. The Shiba rocket there on your screen is a 2-stage rocket designed for the reliable and safe transportation of satellites and CubeSats. Starting from the very top, the fairing. The fairing is a protective shell that shields the payload from aerodynamic heating until the vehicle is outside of the Earth's atmosphere. Once in space, the two fairing halves will separate and fall back to Earth, where they'll splash down in the oceans nearby. Now right below the fairing is Shiba's second stage, which features a single vacuum-optimized engine. And below that second stage is the black carbon fiber inner stage. And inside of that is where the second stage engine is currently housed. And below that we have the first stage, or as well called booster, which is currently in replenishing, as you can see on your screen. Now the first stage makes up the bottom 2/3 of the launch vehicle and is powered by 3 engines on the first stage. And the vehicle produces 1,000 kilonewtons at liftoff, or as well 224,809 pounds to be exact. Didn't really have that on the top of my head. Anyway, the entire vehicle is powered by the Resilient engine family, which is the version 2, using the next generation Resilient 1B engines. Those engines were made by Expedition Aerospace for their V2 Endeavour rocket, and now on the first stage of the Shiba rocket. Now at the moment we are 11 minutes and 45 seconds until the launch. At the moment the rocket is in replenishing. This will be the inaugural flight for Shiba version 2. Now that rocket is nearly fully replenished with about 600,000 pounds of propellant, and that includes rocket propellant 1, or RP1, a highly refined kerosene, and liquid oxygen, or LOX, which is chilled to roughly 300 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. Now just 11 minutes to go until the launch. Coming up at T-7 minutes will be engine chill. Engines will chill down and prepare, which also has to do with replenishing. So the first stage will be pressurized for flight, basically, which also happens with second stage shortly after liftoff, so it can prepare for its ignition. Now, as you may know, this is the Launch Complex 1 here at the Veluwe in the Netherlands. We are currently also working on a launch site 2 that is in the works. And it's nearly finished. We plan to launch our first rocket since Shiba, Exula, from Launch Complex 2. And this should happen around next month. Mid-next month. Mid-July. We expect that to happen. Of course, that can be delayed because our original estimated launch date was around this month. But we didn't do that. And we probably also plan to launch another Shiba before this one, as cadence continues to rise here. Now, right when the webcast started, we had the final system readiness check at T-minus 15 minutes, or as we'll call it, pad evacuation. So everyone had to be evacuated around the launch pad. And this is a necessary step, so we make sure no one gets injured once launch happens, as this is a very, very known area. So you have to lock it down completely, so everyone will be safe. Now, what did we have on the pre-launch schedule here, or as well called the operational mission timeline? The pre-launch schedule included the following. At T-minus 3 hours, we had the director pull. So that director pull is basically just to get all stations checked and see if DogeSpace can go ahead with the fueling operations as well, which is a very crucial step. To make sure everything goes well. And then let's go back, at T-minus 2 hours and 30 minutes, we had the DAPA and DogeSpace Command Center station checkout. So everyone at the DogeSpace Command Center, which will be on your screen here in a second, has pulled everyone. There it is. This is the launch command center for DAPA and DogeSpace. This is where everything is tracked. And this is where everything will be visible on their screens. And you can see the people sitting there in the mission control room. And we have the main launch director as well, sitting there on your screen. Now, what he will be doing is he is the flight director, so he operates all stations, which is to do with the director pull at T-minus 3 hours, and he also issued the station checkouts, so everyone made sure their station was ready and everything was made sure to be ready. And then at T-minus 2 hours, we had the methane and LOX loading start, which you can actually see on your screen is we're in replenish mode, as you can see on the screen. Those frost lines, that is completely normal. And the venting on the Stromback, that is not on the rocket, that's on the Stromback. Just getting all that final things out, and it will continue running for the time being. So that is not stopping. That's a vent that does not stop until the T+ marks after launch. So we'll see that running as it lifts off from the pad. Anyway, continuing with the pre-launch schedule here. T-minus 1 hour 15 minutes will be the tank pressurization. That is also when the Stromback started venting, which is also called the boil off replenish. And at T-minus 35 minutes, everything begun with the trajectory sync, or guidance lock as well called, just to make sure that the trajectory is all go. This is also a very crucial step, and make sure that everything is go. Now, I think the rest of the timeline you will be seeing shortly. At T-1 minute, we'll switch the graphics to something new, so it's going to be pretty exciting. And until then, let's listen in to the sounds of Shiba as we're in the final stages of launch. We'll be back in a second. Welcome back, everyone, to the live coverage of Shiba launching DogeSat-15. We're just about 4 minutes away now until the launch, and the rocket is nearly fully replenished with about 600,000 pounds of propellant. That includes Rocket Propellant 1 or RP1, a highly refined kerosene, and of course liquid oxygen or LOX, which is chilled to roughly 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. Now today will be the payload for today will be DogeSat-15, the next flight for the DogeSat constellation. And yes, we will be launching more of those DogeSats with the Shiba rocket, so as we did before, that's also where the loads of flights came from. Now as we run up to T-minus 3 minutes, we'll start to reduce commentary so we can let you listen in with mission control as we come closer to launch. So you'll soon hear the countdown net. We will open those channels for you so you can take a listen.
Computer as goes to green.
Confirmed.
Beacon, please lock the auto sequence and confirm.
Locked.
All stations LD on mission. We are currently go for auto sequence start at T-minus 2 minutes. And at this time I can confirm LD is go for launch.
And you just heard the call out for LD go for launch. This means everything is now set to go for the launch today. We're 2 minutes 20 seconds until the launch. At the moment everything is looking good as we prepare for launch in 2 minutes time. Shiba's 4th flight and the first flight of Shiba version 2.
All AV bats have been switched to internal power.
And you heard everything is now into internal power.
Vehicle is on internal power.
Yeah, you heard that. So this means the Shiba rocket is now has now its own power. So everything is now steered by Shiba instead of the pad helping with it. As we are 1
Launch
minute.
load is complete. System is in recirculation.
30 seconds away, you hear launch load complete. System is in recirculation, so this is good news. We're about 1 minute and 20 seconds away from launch. We'll reduce commentary by a lot here as we are 1 minute away into launch.
Anti-gas ring disabled.
Stage 1 and Stage 2 are at pressure.
With 50 seconds to go until the launch, let's sit back and watch as Shiba launches
High flow engine
DogeSat-15.
purge is enabled. Doge is activated.
T minus 20 seconds and counting. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
Engine
3,
starter.
2.
Alright, at T plus 30 seconds into the flight, Shiba has successfully lifted off from the Veluwe in the Netherlands. Next step into the flight will be max Q, which is the point of maximum
Entered
stress
burnout detect mode.
on the launch vehicle. This is reached when the air density of the atmosphere decreases faster than the increasing speed of the rocket. So we should be a little while away from max Q. You can see great onboard views of that rocket. T plus 1 minute.
Approaching max Q.
You can hear that call out. We're approaching max Q. You can see the
Empty at
rocket's
max Q.
steering. And there's that call out for max Q. You can also see some wonderful views of the Veluwe as Shiba ascends into space. Now coming up soon, we're going to have several events in quick succession, starting with MECO and then followed by stage separation. And then
Stage 1 guidance is nominal.
and then the second engine start, or SES1. Main engine cutoff, or MECO, is when the 3 engines on Shiba first stage shut down. This is followed by stage separation, where the first and second stages are pushed apart from one another, and immediately after, the second stage engine will ignite to
Stage
continue
1 propulsion
pushing
is nominal.
towards orbit. Now the series of events is set to start in about 20 seconds from now. It's a bit delayed on the screen.
MECO confirmed.
Stage separation successful.
Stage 2 ignition confirmed.
And there we heard the call out of those 3 events that happened back to back, which again were main engine cutoff, followed by stage separation, and then second engine start. Now coming up shortly, we'll have fairing separation, which should be in just a few moments from now. Once that vehicle reaches the vacuum of space, the protective payload fairing is no longer necessary and gets jettisoned.
Stage 2 propulsion is nominal.
You can see all events happening. Should see payload fairing separation in 15 or so seconds. 10 actually. And there's payload fairing separation. And you can see that on the screen as it drifts away. Now the next major milestone will be the second engine cutoff, or SECO, followed by a coast phase period, and then payload separation at T plus 27 minutes and 20 seconds. Now till then, we got a little bit of time to wait for. A little less than, a little more than 8 minutes from now until SECO. Now, of course, this rocket is small, so it really needs that time to get into orbit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little short break here. Yes, we are going to take a little short break. We will be back in just a few minutes for that SECO to happen. So we'll be back at T plus 11 minutes, I think, is a great time. We'll see you in a minute. welcome everyone to the launch coverage. We are currently a minute and 10 seconds away from SECO, or second engine cutoff, and then after the orbital insertion. So if you are just joining us, if you can, please scroll back, as 11 minutes and 22 seconds ago was the launch of Shiba launching DogeSat-15 into orbit. Next event, like I said, will be SECO, second engine cutoff, and then will be another coast phase. So again, music, a little coast phase, which is a little bit longer, and we will be back at T plus 26 minutes then. So first of all, let's see SECO happen, and then we can discuss when we're back. But like I said, we'll be back at T plus 26 minutes after SECO. So we should be 20 seconds away from SECO happening. Now you will not see anything visually except those moving particles. You can see, well, particles I shouldn't say, the moving parts, as you can see. It will completely stand still. You can even see that here soon. And there you see SECO. So that's standing still now, as you can see. Nothing's moving. But that also means we are officially in orbit. So congratulations to the entire Doge Space team for that orbit there. And another great milestone there. So what will be happening now is we will be having a coast phase here, and we will be back at T plus 26 minutes for the continuation of the coverage here. And that will be the DogeSat-15 separation, as you now can see on your screen. So we're going to take a quick break like we said. We'll put some music on again, like we did a bit ago, and we will see you soon. Welcome back to our live coverage of the DogeSat-15 mission. It has been a great launch and overall mission so far. We had an on-time liftoff at 7:15 p.m. Central European Time, and we're currently awaiting payload deployment in about a minute from now. We're moments away from DogeSat-15 separating from Shiba's second stage. Now, these satellites will perform crucial tasks, taking high-resolution pictures from outer space and sending accurate GPS data. Like all the other GPS satellites do, this is one of the better ones, as it features HD, or I should say 8K, not HD, 8K high-resolution images off Earth, and GPS data that's updating per second in some capacity. At the moment, DogeSat is running with 14 satellites and soon 15 up in space. This will enable us to study a variety of things that were previously unable to be observed. Now back to the mission here. We should see payload deployment in literally 10 seconds from now. And there we see payload separation goes very quickly. That's how it works. DogeSat-15 is now in space. This marks 15 satellites up in space for the DogeSat constellation and another successful mission for DogeSpace. Now in the next 15 minutes, DogeSat will undergo solar panel deployment, thruster ignition for orbital position, and the camera radar deployment. But we will not be showing that on the live coverage today. And it will bring us to the end of our live mission coverage. We would like to thank the FAA for their support for today's mission. Be sure to check out our socials for the most up-to-date information on upcoming launches and a video that you've probably never seen before. And follow us on DogeSpace Roblox on X. Until then, we will see you next time.